Okay. Pam, go.
Are we ready to make history? Yes, I'm ready. Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Black Sources with Pamela Ballard Hicks. First, let me introduce myself. I'm a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a teacher, and I'm a retired HPD sergeant. My husband and I love RV camping. Before we begin, let me say thank you to the special guest in advance. If I don't say it at the end, if we run out of time, if somebody has to leave out early. And also, can you introduce yourselves to the audience? Let's start with Dr. Plummer.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. How's everyone doing today?
Good.
Good. It's so great to be on the show today. I am Dr. Letitia Plummer. I am your city council member for at-large for the city of Houston, as I represent.
I think she froze.
Did you text her? I mean, just let her know I'll chat with her and tell her she's frozen.
But police reform is something we're looking deeply at. Food deserts, food insecurities is a top priority. I'm right now surviving COVID. So I'm really excited to be here with you today and excited about this conversation.
Yes, thank you. All right, Miss Murray, let's tell us who you are.
Hi, I'm Arnetta Murray. I am a special ed teacher. I was at Harris County. Now I'm at HISD. I am a councilwoman in the city of Iowa Colony. Grateful to be there. It was a long, arduous road. I'm a former Missouri County. I ran for commissioner. I'm also a Rotarian. I'm also part of the NAACP in Missouri County. Mother of 5 children. They're grown, and I have a new lease on life. So again, being a councilwoman, even in any jurisdiction, is a blessing, and I'm grateful to be here because Mr. Alexander, whatever he asks me to do, I'm gonna do it.
Oh, that's wonderful. All right, and not last, I guess Centwali's not here, Mr. Centwali, but Dr. Veon, thank you for showing up.
Woo woo! King. Mute. He's muted, guys. You gotta unmute him. Unmute him, Pamela.
Okay, my bad. Okay, I'm Veon McReynolds. I run a small nonprofit called Trinity Hood. We have basically 3 components: the Third Ward Bike Shop, which is open Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 6. Come by and get your bike rolling so you can get out and get you some exercise to strengthen your immune system. Also, we have Third Ward tours. If you want to book a private tour with your pod, COVID pod, you can do that through Third Ward tours. Trinity Hood, we just try to take people out and get them healthy because health is wealth. So we're providing wealth to the community.
Absolutely. All right, let's begin. Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. We're going to say that in advance. She is an HBCU graduate of Howard University, a member of the AKA sorority. First question, is Kamala Harris Black enough to be vice president? Her mother was born in India. Her father was born in Jamaica. According to Fox News and white Republicans, she does not have slave blood. She's not African American. According to Pat Robertson, she does not have the Black experience. Is she the best VP candidate? Let's start with Dr. Veon.
Well, one of the issues when you say, is she Black enough? I think where we get tied up is we see a person, generally Negro or colored people, as we call them, or just a normal Black person, that we call that Black, but there's another concept that goes with it that reflects a mental attitude. And that mental attitude we can see expressed by a lot of white people out with signs that say Black Lives Matter. And to me, those people are blacker than Mr. Kane, God rest his soul, support those Black people that run out, or those Black-skinned people that run out and support the president that they call Trump. So, you know, I would say that her views are what makes her Black. And I think she, from where she comes from, she has a good view of oppressed people. So I think she would represent the views of Black people who have been oppressed like other oppressed people around the world. So I would say, yes, she will represent those issues just as much as many of the other so-called Black people have done with our last president, Obama. You can only do so much in the political office.
Is she the best candidate for VP? In your
Yes, she is the candidate. There's no question. There's no use in questioning that now. We can question it 4 years from now, but she is definitely the best now. So
Yes.
there's no question.
Okay. Miss Murray?
Look, you know what, and I don't mean this disrespectfully. I am so tired of us focusing on color. Let's focus on character. Let's focus on what, and see, because you have somebody that's in the White House that is of a Caucasian nature, but his character is so belligerent, so bullish, so childish. What? So please, no, I'm not going to get in the color issue. I am so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. It's not oblivious that she's, you know, Black. Look, she's went to a historical Black university. She's AAKA. I mean, what more? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So, again, let's, oh my God, our view is so myopic when we keep focusing on color and not character.
Absolutely.
Her character is a vestitude of her ability to be the VP. If you want me to be technical, I would love for her to be president, but we're not going to talk about that, so I'm done.
She might be president. We don't know yet.
That's true.
Pretty old. All right. So, Miss Murray, is she the best VP candidate, and would you like to see someone else?
No, you know what? I'm glad that was done. It shows to me a cross-cultural type of element. You want to do that. You want to, and Letitia can vouch for me as well. When you're a councilwoman, you're in any type of elected official, you have to look at things in a global point of view. You cannot just focus on one area. This is me. I'm a special ed teacher. If you know anything about a special ed teacher, when we have arts, I have to make sure that everybody gets a piece of the pie. So you transfer that to being a council person. Everybody's got to get a piece. It might be a small piece, but everybody's going to get a piece. The problem is, because of systematic racism, it was only one person or one group getting a piece. We're not doing that anymore. So no, she's the best candidate.
That definitely sounds politician, where everybody's got to get a piece.
But it's but it's real. It's real. Look, let me say this, Pamela. It's not politics. Really, to be honest with you, as a special ed teacher in an art, and I got to make sure all the stakeholders get a piece. The parent, the child, the district, then. So no, it's not politician. It's really real. So you know. But I understand you got to say that. I'm good.
Definitely. All right, Dr. Plummer.
Woo woo.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're talking about the Black issue. Is she Black enough to be vice president? And is she the best candidate?
Absolutely. So this question, it really is sincere to me and sensitive to me. My mother is half Yemen, half Persian, and my dad is Black American. And, my whole entire life, I was, people would look at me and just say, "Are you really Black? Are you a different Black kind of person? Is that really your mom?" And even when I ran for Congress in the midterm, I was questioned in terms of what my religion was or my background, and was I good enough to represent, communities. So absolutely, she is Black enough. And I completely agree with my sister Murray over there, because she's dead on. It is about who you are in your heart and your character and what you stand for, and how hard will you fight for people. So
Yes.
I'm really kind of over the conversation as well. As Black people, we are always looking for a problem. We've achieved this huge goal of having the first Black woman to be the VP of the United States of America. We need to be incredibly grateful and blessed that our forefathers and everyone have fought so hard for us to get here. So she is a good woman. She is a good wife. She is a mother to her stepchildren. I call them bonus children. Mama Kamala. And so, yeah, she's going to represent us well. And as someone from a biracial background that fights for people every single day, she is absolutely Black enough, and there is no question is she the best candidate for this race.
Wonderful. Thank you. Baruti, you have anything to say?
I'm sorry, give me a second. Yes, I heard the conversation. I had some trepidations about her and the effectiveness and so forth. But let me say, I do not know her enough. I just got to know her as she became a presidential candidate. I know the background that people say about her and prosecuting Black men and so forth and so on. She's married to a white gentleman. How much effect will that have? So I'm in a wait and see, but because of the situation, rah, 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 let's go. Let's get rid of Trump. And anybody that can help with that, that's a good thing. Thank you.
All right, question number 2, guys. When Kamala Harris was the chief prosecutor for San Francisco, during that time, she prosecuted and placed in prison over 800 mostly Black males. Was she doing her job, or was she being an instrument for oppression? During the presidential campaign, that was a big issue with many Black voters, particularly young millennials. And the millennials were born about 2000. Why? So the question is, was she doing her job, or was she being an instrument of oppression?
Yeah, can I get on that one? I think,
Sure.
One of the things that we can see is that, the police do their job. They're paid to arrest people and put them in jail. However, they wind up arresting more poor people, Black people, than anybody else as they do their job. One of the reasons is the laws are set so that Black people, poor people, break the law more. They're almost designed, like when they came in with crack cocaine and the drugs, placed them in the community, that sort of thing. So she's doing her job, definitely doing her job, but she is, part of the oppressive system. And the laws are set up, and she has to address those laws. So with the sentencing, she's limited to what sentences she can do based on the law. So all she can do is her job, and oftentimes we don't need to be doing certain types of jobs.
I totally agree with you when you say that, because mainly she is the chief prosecutor, and that's what her job is. And that kind of reminds me when I was a police officer on patrol. That was my job. If you shoplift, then I went in there and I arrest you. That was my job. It wasn't something, that's how I paid the bills. So, like you said, unfortunately, it was I was in a particular neighborhood, and I happened to arrest, my neighborhood was mixed, so I was arrested both. The neighborhood that I patrolled in. So let's go with Miss Murray. So the question was, again, during the time she was a prosecutor, she arrested over 800 or jailed and imprisoned 800 mostly Black males. Was she doing her job, or was she being an instrument of oppression?
You know, you have to look at it. One thing I have learned about being a teacher and and I have to say that we don't know why she prosecuted. We have to look at the information. We got to look at all of those factors. But let me tell you what I do see. That system of oppression has been there before she came. So let's just be honest on that. And unfortunately, there are some rules that have already been in place that she had to possibly adhere to because it was what? Her job. So again, it is still
True.
the oppressiveness started way before our VP, Madam VP got in place. So first of all, we got to fix that first. I think it could be two apples. Part of it, she was doing her job, but I just have a hard time believing that she just wanted to oppress the Black people. Let's be clear. Like I tell my son, the police is going to stop you. That's just natural, but don't let them keep you. Now, and that's about right. And they're going to stop you, but don't let them find drugs or a weapon in your car. And then you want to call out, you know, this cop oppression and all that. Be obedient first. So again, I'm making the point that I'm making is, unfortunately, we don't know the cases. It's funny that we can say it's 800, but what about these prosecutors that's been doing this for 50 plus years? Talk about that.
Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely. Thank you.
I'm done.
Dr. Plummer.
Yes, no, I think that's a great question. It definitely was something that was a consistent conversation during her presidential race. And as a mother of three Black boys, you know, I never know, and I always pray, right, they're going to come home and be safe. So I do believe, I do believe it was probably a combination. I don't think she intentionally tried to, you know, imprison African American men by no stretch of the imagination. Our system is faulty, and you know, like my sister once again said, you know, we have to start changing the system, and that's what we're doing. You know, in Houston, we're really causing some true restorative, you know, reform in the police departments. You know, once again, I keep on going back to the fact that, you know, we have worked so hard and so many people have sacrificed for this time. And people's past and people's experiences are a part of who they are. You know, instead of us looking at a fact of what she's done then, let's look at how she's learned from it and how she sees where we currently are in this situation, and how you know, police reform and brutality is such a top topic with all of the killings and everything that's happening across the country. So let's look at how she's learned from this and how we believe that she can make it a better situation and work to not make up for her mistakes, but look at those as experiences and how she can and just do a better job to protect all of us.
Absolutely.
I agree. I have to admit, I knew very little about Kamala Harris. And I judged her when she was running for president. And then I started reading, do a little research. Also, she had a program that called, I forgot what it was called, like Back on Track. And so while she was a chief prosecutor, and that was for first drug offenders. And basically what she did was, well, they pled guilty, they did the time, but also she provided a job in some form of, so it was, she did make a difference. Although she did her job, she did try to help as well. And that's important.
And also, if I could just jump in and just say this, why when we finally get where we want to be, if you look at how just African American people are just in general, we have worked so hard and we have sacrificed so much. We need to lift her up, and we need to make sure that we have to hold her accountable and help her put people in place to make sure she make the right decision, share our struggles with her, and let her know what our concerns are. But we don't need to tear her down. I mean, we've waited hundreds of years for this. And then we're the same people that complain that we don't have any Black representation.
Absolutely.
We can't have it both ways. As a culture, we need to figure it out. What are we going to do? Are we going to be grateful that someone's finally made it there and make sure we support her and lift her? So we can't complain when when other races tear us down if we're doing the exact same thing in our culture.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? But I mentioned the millennials because I have my nieces who are millennials, and I had to get on one of them and talk to her. She was saying, "Well, she prosecuted 800 Black men." I said, "Here's the problem here. You know what? You got a white supremacist in office, a child molester, and you have one man that degrades women. I mean, and that's fact." And I said, if not the Democratic Party at this point, and I'm not Democrat, I'm just saying, then who? So you prefer the white supremacists? I said, we can't, just straddle the fence here. It's either white supremacists or Biden and Harris. And I was listening. I have to tell you one more thing because I got angry. And I really got on Ice Cube. He said, we're not going to do with the Democratic Party. They're horrible people, and they have always been this. And he grew a lot of people, and they were on his page going, yeah. I said, shut up. I told him, shut up. Because I said, here's the problem. We're dealing with a white supremacist here. It's either, at this point, Democrat or Trump, the white supremacist. You make the decision. I said, you know what? I told Ice Cube, tell us who you're really voting for. I'm waiting. And at this point in time, I'm saying, really, it's either the white supremacist or this. Do we have another choice? If we did, tell me.
Can I just jump in for a second? I think one of the key elements, rather than, white supremacy, is climate change. And Trump has rolled back so many environmental regulations of clean water, clean air. And we can see now that, California's burning. I mean, around the world, we got all these major climate disasters here just recently, the double hurricane, coming into the Gulf. And, it's not because just the weather is just happening like that. It's because of the way we are living. And so what they saw that during COVID, that, the planet actually started to heal itself while we were calmed down. The waters were cleaner, the airs were cleaner, all that stuff. So I just wanted to say that Trump saying that scientists don't know what they're talking about when they talk about climate change. And if we leave him in the office for 4 more years, we may not have a planet to have racism upon. So,
that's right.
Personally, I would rather, have, a Black person or a white person, anybody in office that will take care of the environment, so that we can then deal with racism and, our food deserts and all the other problems. But climate change is our biggest problem, and Trump says it's just a hoax. So, to me, that's a reason to vote for anybody somebody that's going to beat Trump. I'm not going to vote for the Green Party, even though they represent more of the values, but, they're not going to win. I'm going to vote for the party that's going to win, and that's going to be Biden and Harris. So.
Absolutely. Isn't it good to have diversity? I mean, who would ever thought it pulled that out?
That was very strategic.
But Rudy, you have any comments about that?
Yes, thank you very much. First, my comment is, we get caught up into labels like white supremacist and Democrat and Republican. We got to understand the deepest stain is basically whites are in a position where they feel that it is their right, and they have that embedded in them. Now, not all of them, because we wouldn't have been as free as we are today without the abolitionists and so forth. But what I'm saying here is, you can have somebody against you who's a Republican, a Democrat, a white, Black, but whites, when they are against you, they don't see you in the same particular way when they are against you. So what I'm saying is, yes, Trump is there and he's the face of it, but that next door neighbor or that other person can have the same kind of, and they can play it off where you can't even realize it.
Absolutely.
Unless you are aware of their deeper DNA and how they feel, you know, and that's why the issue of reparations tears such a hard pull at them. So, I mean, it's deeper than Trump. That's what I'm saying. It's deeper than Trump. And, you know, it's a matter of psychological survival.
That's the point.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead on with the third question. Can you sleep white and talk black? So the question is, can you sleep white and talk black? Kamala,
can you sleep? You said, oh, with her husband, got you.
can you sleep white and talk black? Kamala, that was a big statement in the 1960 civil rights movement, because it was a lot of the black males at that time, although they were marching, but they were, you know, they were marrying white women, particularly the women in the civil rights campaign. So that's where I got that. Can you sleep white and talk black? And you know what those, the Cindy Poitiers and all that, at that time, even the marchers. So Kamala Harris' interracial marriage to Doug Ehoff, I hope I pronounced his name right, a white male. Based on this alone, will the majority of the black community still stand behind her like they did Barack Obama? Can and will this affect her campaign?
I guess you waiting on me to say something, huh?
Yes, Ms. Murray. Thank you.
I was waiting on Plummer. I was waiting on Mr. McGreynolds. Nobody else said nothing.
Well, I'm always ready to go.
Oh, well, you can go ahead, King. I'll let you.
Dr. Plummer next.
Okay. Am I me or Dr.
It
Plummer?
doesn't matter. Whoever wants to go first.
Okay, I just want to say that who you sleep with it could be, you know, the issue here again, we're back on color. That because the person I'm sleeping with happens to be a European, and then let's go back to where this race thing came from. Europeans are the ones that invented race to divide people. And so that's how we got to be black. Before we were black, it was more your tribe or the country that you came from. It wasn't your skin color, your phenotype. It was more, it wasn't that, you know. So the person that you sleep with, they may, even though they look white, they may be actually have more thoughts related to freeing and liberating blacks than the person that has the color. That they may be actually telling the person of color what to say when they go out and be in public. So,
Absolutely.
you know,
I believe
that black man may have that strong white woman behind him that gives him the right things to say, because he may not know just because he's black.
Okay. Dr. Plummer?
Yes, I believe, you know, once again, I come from a biracial family. And so, you know, that's like me saying, you know, because my dad married someone that wasn't black, you know, does that make my mother someone that doesn't understand? Her husband is Jewish, I think, from Jewish background. I mean, they have experienced discrimination in much of the same cultural ways that we have as African Americans. I don't believe that it changes anything about her. As a matter of fact, I think it gives her a different perspective, an additional perspective. I mean, she's not going to be the vice president of the United States for black people. She's going to be the vice president for every single person that lives in this country, in this nation. So, with that being said, you want her to have various perspectives. You want her to be able to walk into a room and be able to relate to other people and have and be able to go back home and have conversations with her husband if she gets to a place where she doesn't really relate to what is going on. I think it adds the extra special layer to who she is and makes her a better representative for the United States of America.
Absolutely.
One of the things is, will the majority of the black community And I like the millennials. I'm gonna go back to the millennials because that's a big issue. And they being swayed by Kanye and all that, you know. And even Ice Cube, when he was saying that what the Democrat hadn't done. And so, you know, you have to put them back in perspective. You know, this is a dangerous situation. So will the Black community still stand behind her like they did President Barack Obama? So, and that was the whole thing, more so than anything. She's married to a white guy, so he's out there with her. And I'm telling you, you can see the love. So will the Black community back her with open arms?
May I say something?
Go ahead.
I
Yes.
do not believe Barack Obama would have become president had he had a white wife. The
I agree.
cultural thing about the United States is unique in a lot of ways in how it went into a factor. I'm not saying that Kamala Harris is not the best, and her tandem with Joe Biden is the best shot we have to change from President Trump, and I'm behind her 100%. But we have to accept that the situation of the United States is different than other countries of the world, not all of them, but many of them. And you know, I've been to other countries. I've been to Tanzania, I went to Rome. I've seen and read, and I believe it's a little different than those countries. And that gives a unique perspective, and it has an effect on how people think. I just want to throw that out and throw it out to the group.
Okay, Miss Murray.
Can I jump in?
Sure.
Can I jump in really quickly and just make a quick comment? And I'm gonna have to sign off, guys. I really appreciate this conversation. I'm gonna have to sign off, but let me say this one thing. As a Black woman running for office, we are judged on levels that men are just not judged on. We are broken down into pieces. If we fight strong, we're angry. And it's really unfortunate. I know these conversations are unnecessary, but I'm telling you, for a Black woman that has ran 2 political races, no one expects you to do well. They break you down in so many ways. People come up to you and say, how can you run for office and you got to take care of your kids? They don't ask those questions to men. It's just, it's hard for her. This is really rough for her to do this. And for her to be under the scrutiny by us, once again, is so, it's debilitating, because when you get to this place and you know how hard it is that she fought to get here, she's here now. Let's have conversations about how do we lift her up and make sure she's successful and wins.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I'm sorry, I just have a different perspective, guys. And maybe it's a little bit emotional for me because I have ran 2 races, and in every one of them, no one ever thought I was going to get there or get it done. So I can only imagine what she's gone through. I mean, I was running local races, and she ran for president. I mean, I just think that I know these are important conversations, but
if I can say
enough already.
I just want to say that what I'm talking about is just the reality of what she's going to have to deal with, not just about lifting her up. Of course, we wish to lift her up because that is in the best interest of all of our futures. But I'm talking about the reality. I am talking about how people are going to attack her, and I understand that. But we have to be realistic about the place we live in, and we also have the political world that we live in. And
go ahead.
And so that's what I'm talking about. Let's lift her up with reality. Let's lift her up with truth. Let's lift her up with understanding. That is what I'm talking about. I say, let's go, Kamala, but let's understand what's about to happen and what's going on and the reality of what we live in today. Thank you.
And thank you, Dr. Plummer. I know you have to go, and so we really do appreciate you. But I agree with my sister in the councilship land. Basically, we got to change the dynamic. She knows what's going on. I ran 2 races and lost, but guess what? And some of the fight did not come from my opponent, honey. Some of the fight came from in my party. So again, We know and she knows, but again, you have to stay focused on the goal. And the goal is, yes, you're going to have these parameters, but we are here and going to make sure we are supporting you, just like they supporting President Trump. They're supporting him, and it's wrong. Go ahead.
Can I say something? It's funny that you said you had problems in your party.
Yes, sir.
It was rumored that Kamala Harris had problems in the presidential party.
I believe that. I believe that. I believe that. I believe that. And some of the problems that she's probably that she was under, it was unnecessary. Look, I know you're not. Look, when I was married, I didn't agree with everything that my ex-husband did, but we had a goal at one point. Guys, focus on the goal. But if you keep focusing on this is what's wrong. But let me say this. Look, black men been marrying white women all along, and y'all didn't say nothing. Now when a black woman is with a white man, oh, it's gonna be an issue. I have never seen any black guys change who they were when they was with a white woman. They knew who they ate. I got Susie, but I got a black mama. So quit all these unnecessary focus, and let's focus on getting her in, changing the narrative. Let me say this about millennials. I have millennials too, millennial kids, 5 of them, and I'm fighting for them to vote. They just don't want to vote because it's not important to them. And
Let's
when
talk
it's
about
not,
that.
and so we gotta do something about that. I'm done.
Exactly. Then that's my whole thing. I absolutely agree. It's funny that you and Dr. Plummer was talking about, because my husband and Carl Baruti heard that. He says, "Why are you talking about that?" No, I said, "Carl, it's dialogue. I mean, honey, it's dialogue. We gotta get. Why are you talking about the?" I said, "Well, because I think it's just dialogue. We need to open up. We all have to stay open." And
That's
I'm
right.
a realist, not so much idealistic. I'm not an idealistic person. I'm a realist person.
Realist.
Idealistically, I want the world to be everything it should be.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like Carl, I'm more of a realistic person, and especially the police department taught me that. And also, anytime you're dealing in the criminal justice system, you see the unfairness, and it can be cruel.
Yes.
So that gave me the realistic. But definitely, yeah. And so let's go to the other question.
Can I make a comment?
Kamala Harris. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just want to make one really quick comment that most of the stuff, the issues that the women come under, and even the comments that we get about Kamala being not black enough, it's basically from prejudice. We're
Absolutely.
sexist because she's a woman, so she can't do this, and she
That's
shouldn't
right.
be doing that because she's a woman. Oh, he's black, so he's supposed to do this and that. And it's, from our ingrained prejudice, rather than looking at the goal, what does it take to reach the goal?
Period. That's
Absolutely. Okay, let me add a couple more questions. What can Kamala Harris do to guarantee that she will get the Black community behind her and get them out to vote? What can she do? Is she already doing it? Is she doing enough? What can she do to guarantee that she will get the Black community behind her and get them out to vote?
She's got it's not just the Black. She needs the Latino behind her. She needs the Asian behind her. She needs all of the races behind her. But with the Blacks, the Blacks ought to just want to vote anyway. I kind of get frustrated in a sense because we want to come out for the presidential elections, but we barely see yet local elections.
Absolutely.
And the way you're galvanizing everybody for this national one, it should have that same energy for locals, and it's not. So again, it's time for Blacks to wake up and quit depending on people to get you moved. Nobody has to move you to get a job. Nobody has to move you for free food. Nobody has to move you to go to work. But the political framework should be important to us. So what she has to do is what we're doing. We're marching. We're doing text messaging. What else we're doing? We can't knock on doors because guess what? COVID is real. So we have to do virtual. COVID is real, and I've had people die from it. I hate that, but you got to do marches. You got to do what do you call that? Town hall meetings versus Zoom. You got
calls, huh?
Right. You got to do that, guys, and That's all she can do, because sometimes you can do that and sometimes it's never enough, but just keep pushing because somebody's going to get on board.
Okay, we're calling it in. That's why I called Madam.
Madam. Madam Vice President. Go ahead, Mr. McReynolds. I see you looking.
You know, one of the things that generally that make people support other people is who supports them. So I think when she gets her AKAs out and
Right.
the black colleges behind them, and then
Right.
you know the Black Caucus, and they go out just like when Biden went to South Carolina, North Carolina, somewhere, and you know he had the only way that his support came was from his connection to other black folks. And they then brought their friends in the fray. It wasn't him, it was his friends' influence to put other people in support of him. So I think that's going to be her way of getting, you know, her Indian friends, her, you know, her husband's white friends, you know, to get other people to support. I think it's going to be not particularly her, as you know, maybe Obama was more charismatic and he could pull people in toward him, but with her, she has maybe some little issues. So with the other people supporting her, you know, we're like, you know, monkeys. Monkeys see, we gonna do what the monkey do. So, you know, we'll follow.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, Carl, Brewer, do you have anything you want to contribute?
Excuse me. She has to talk to the black community. She has to take every question. She has to address the issue of putting black men behind bars. Go everywhere she can and talk about that issue and help people to understand her position.
Eating over there?
Huh?
Are you over there eating? Yes. I know my former co-working friend.
Okay, this is a big one.
Let me get.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Pam.
Okay, this is a big one. Will the AKA sorority be able to catapult Kamala Harris into the White House?
Oh, absolutely.
And rally up black fraternities and sororities in support of her.
McReynolds said, no, go ahead and talk, Mr. McReynolds.
Well, you know, the reason why it's that, you know, we look at black voters, but they are not a small percent, but it's not, you know, they're not, we're only like maybe, 15% of the total population of the United States.
Right,
so you're
right.
say, is this 15% going to put her in? Now, it could help, but she needs all the rest of the folks, not just these few black people. And again, you know, the issue that I think should pull people toward her is to get the climate denier out of the office by any means necessary. No planet, no life. You know, species are dying all over the world. You know, we're going to have problems with growing food because of the climate change. And when it goes from 80 degrees one day to snowing the next day, you might think, that might affect the crops. So we want to get the person out by any means. We'll put Pinocchio in rather than having Donald Trump. At least we'll know correctly when he's lying.
Pinocchio, I like that.
Miss Murray?
You know, we can't, I have to agree with Mr. McReynolds. You know, of course we love our blackness. We're going to support our blackness, but we know how our blackness can be. Let's not be mystified. We do our own selves bad sometimes than other people. And we can't deny that. That's just the truth. We don't want to talk about it, but that's true. That's number one. So you got to focus on, like Mr. McReynolds said, you got to have a diversified mindset. And that's just the bottom line. You got to galvanize everybody. We cannot continue to be myopic. Yes, when I'm in office, even here at the seat of our colony, there are sometimes I'm thinking about my boys, right? But I still got to make sure I'm considering the Latinos, Asians, and all of that. You feel what I'm saying? Because sometimes my boys cut up intentionally. So you got to suffer some consequences. So you see what I'm saying? So she's gonna have to galvanize everybody, the AKAs and the Deltas. It can't be them alone.
I absolutely agree. And that's why I put in the Greek fraternities and sororities. And because the AKA seem like they've had a huge platform now. You know, it's all about, you know, the AKAs. And and I'm happy for that. But also, wow, since the AKAs have then now bring in the Deltas, bring in the Zetas, bring in all those others, and bring them, get them on, bring them in. Stop making it all about the showboat of the AKAs.
I agree.
Thing, but bring others in.
Yeah,
and
I think she would be better bringing women in and focusing on women rather than focusing on Black people. You know, give me 50. Let me focus on the half of the pie rather than on a little bitty slice. You know?
Good point. Good point.
You know what? I think this woman, Kamala Harris, let's give a little history about her. She ran for state representative in California, state representative. She became the chief prosecutor of San Francisco. After she became the chief prosecutor, she became attorney general for California. And then Boxer, I believe, decided not to run for Senate. Then she became the senator. So you know what? Because it's Black sources, I focused this on Black because this woman is very smart. And then she is charismatic. I love her laugh. I love how she is almost like anybody she's with, including her husband, Biden. And I was watching her with, what's that guy that replaced Jon Stewart? And I watch him all the time. Carl, what was the name of that guy that replaced Jon Stewart? He's South African.
Noah something.
Yeah, Noah.
Noah. Trevor Noah.
Yeah, Trevor Noah.
Trevor Noah, yes, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, the conversation interview was electric. And they talked about, so I do believe she's smart, she's thick-skinned. I think she can galvanize everybody together, but particularly, you can't leave us out.
Absolutely.
No.
And I think she found a way to do that. I just hope that us, and I see the bigness in the proudness of the AKAs, but I think they would do better if they galvanize the other Greeks and like cheerleaders. Let's go. And of course the white, but this is a Black forum. So we was talking about how could she galvanize that 15%, Dr. Veon.
Yeah. One of the things that's bothering me now, you know, I'm on Facebook a little bit, well, quite a lot, is the apathy of Black folks. They're saying, why vote for this white man? He hasn't done anything for me. And why vote for the other white man? You know, which is really very ignorant. But, you know, I hate to see that. Because, again, I'm going to say it again one more time, that the climate is the major issue, that you have to take care of that first. And if you don't take care of that, it won't matter. You can run A-Trap Brown, whoever you want to run on the next 4 years, but they might not have anything to be president over.
It's funny you should say that. See, I hear that from the millennials, from my nieces, and I have to kind of get on them all the time. What's your option? I mean, what do you have? Tell me, Kanye West? I mean, why? That's a wasted vote, even if you got on, like you said, the Green Party ticket. Let's stop wasting these votes. Yeah. Let's be serious. Stop that time. I don't know. That's when Ice Cube made that statement about the Democratic Party. I said, at this point, shut up.
Yeah,
I mean, what do you have?
Criticism is fine. And, you know, the Democratic Party, we can go back, like at the guy that when they go back to the presidential, the last little town hall meeting he had with the citizen, and the Black guy said, well, You know, it didn't change with Obama. It didn't change with Bush. It didn't change with whomever else, and it hasn't changed with you. So what are you going to offer? And, you know, so Black people see that, and it doesn't make any difference. However, with this election and the particular issues on the table, it does make a big difference whether you have a climate denier, and I keep going back to that, as opposed to a person that's not. A person that says, yes, I support science. And if you go back and look at, if it doesn't make any difference that a person would just say, here's a dreaded disease coming, and he says, I don't want to alarm you that, you know, that you're going to get sick and you could take precautions. I'm not going to alarm you where you would take precautions. I'm going to just let it go its course because it might disappear. So you're going to say that it makes no difference of having that person in office and your next door neighbor. It's better than that.
One thing about it, you remember he got rid of the pandemic team, or what's the team that Obama put in place? And another issue, somebody compared it to, it's like a Hurricane 5 coming to Houston. Mm-hmm. And the mayor decides not, or whoever the health department decides not to tell us because they don't want to make us scared.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Who does that?
Yeah, it's been in the movie theater again, and you don't want to yell out fire. So what you do is you get up and walk out and close the door. You know, I mean, it's crazy. And to think that I'm not gonna vote because I can't understand why you would come up with a reason not to vote when you have a person in that doesn't have good sense. I mean,
Absolutely.
Most of the people around the world think the man is crazy, and you would rather leave that person in office and not try to vote a lunatic out of office. That makes me really wonder about people who say I'm not voting.
You know, I was concerned, and this is the reason why Ice Cube was a big, because he's one of those young, he's in his 40s now, or early 40s. He has a good people that would follow him. He's this superstar. Right. It's almost kind of like if LeBron would say that. And you saw the effects. I'll never forget this when Kobe died. Snoop Dogg and me and Baruti had this, told Gail that, and she mentioned about the rape allegation, and she was totally wrong during his death. But Snoop Dogg told her that, called her the B word, mm-hmm. and then he told her he was coming for her. Mm-hmm. I was the only one that had a big problem with that. I said, one thing I had a big problem with, first of all, a man threatening a woman to do her harm and sending other people to do her harm. And he's calling her the B word. If he had did Martha Stewart, called her the B word and threatened to get her. But this happened to be a Black woman.
Right.
So my girlfriends argued me down. She was right, he was wrong. And I had to go on Facebook, said how wrong this is. And
No, I'm sorry, Pam. No, Pamela, you're right. Two wrongs don't make it right. I think, as you said, you made it clear that Gail, that was not the time for Gail to say what she said.
Absolutely.
I agree. But because she was wrong, didn't make that Snoop Dogg had to do that as well. Sometimes you just need to, sometimes a no response is a response at all. And go ahead.
He threatened to harm her and threatened to get her, say, I'm going to get you. And other people, therefore, followed his footsteps because he was this big thing. Yep. And that's the thing I said with Ice Cube. It's not so much, people have their opinions, but you got to remember what position you're in. Even LeBron's, he's not like me. He's not like you.
Not like me. Mm-mm.
Yeah, right. Unfortunately, we've learned to use violence as a way of solving problems. And generally, violence does not solve the problem. Right. It just causes another problem. Just because you can beat me to submission and I'm a slave and I'll do your bidding doesn't mean that I'm not still trying to escape or that I'm not planning on burning your house down and making sure you can't get out just because you beat me today. So we need to look at another way. We need to have peace in our hearts, because if you operate that way toward one person, you'll do it toward another and another. And then your kids, that's the way they'll want to solve problems. I'll kick your mother. Yeah, and no, that's not the way. That's not the way. That's not what we should have in our hearts. And that's the same thing that we see with our president. He said that, oh, the police, what they should have done is, you know, he didn't say,
That's what I
but
was about to
he
say.
did say, if you did something to them, I would protect you, you know. So anyway,
Absolutely.
so that's not the way to solve problems.
Right.
Well, guys, thank you so much. I enjoyed it. I think we had great dialogue. I was hoping the questions that was posed, I was hoping that we would, you know, get this stuff out of the way, that old thinking that
Yes.
that is she's not black. I thought it was ridiculous. And remember when I said white Republicans and Fox News.
Yep.
How dare they? But
I know.
anyway, so it's wonderful. Do y'all have any last comments, concerns?
I just want to say that one of the things that we need to do is get rid of the oppression concept of race. That, you know, we're proud to be Black, but it's a culture. It's not a race. It's the way you think. It has nothing. It is correlated.
Say that again. Say that again. Say that again.
It's about what you think. Thinking Black. Because if it wasn't, then we couldn't say what is that? The Supreme Court. What's that? God, I can't think of his name. But anyway, Clarence Thomas. We'll call Clarence Thomas, and then we have this term that we'll throw on a handkerchief head. So as soon as I throw that handkerchief head on you, then you're not Black anymore. So even though you look like me, but the thought process is not there. So we take it for granted that if you see a person that looks like me, they have the thought process. But we need to look at a person's actions and their deeds rather than their skin color.
Absolutely.
The only thing I want, again, if we're wrapping up, get out and vote, and make sure you do your census and get other people out to vote.
Okay. Miss Murray, any closing comments, concerns?
It was, yes. Look, I have no concerns. Only concerns is I just want you guys to vote and make sure. Now, look, if you live in the city of our colony, yours truly, a candidate and a councilwoman needs your vote. I just want you to, it's a 77583 zip code. And again, let's think differently. Let's move forward and let's make things happen. Remember, this is not a moment, it's a movement.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Hey, I'm gonna look back. It's not a moment, it's a movement. Absolutely.
Yes.
Definitely. And Black is an experience. Or did I say it right? It's not a color.
Right.
Dr. Veon, did I say it kind of right?
Thought process.
It's a thought process.
Yes.
Black is a thought process.
Yeah.
Well, Rudy, founder and producer of Source Seeker Hour, Black Sources. You have any last comments, concerns?
Murray, you couldn't let me by with that, huh? Hey, y'all, I appreciate everything. Blessings. I want to always do better the next time. Thank you all for sharing, and let's keep on keeping on doing what we're doing and do it real good. Like the old song say, it said, express yourself. It's not what you look like, what you're doing when you're doing, or something like that. Y'all remember what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember.
What you look like is what you're doing when you're doing what you're doing.
Huh?
It's not what you look like, it's what you're doing when you're doing what you're doing.
Wow.
What you look like you're doing. There you go, brother. Hey, thank y'all. I turn it back over to you, Pam.
All right, guys, it's the end of the segment. I enjoyed it. Thanks for the intelligent dialogue. I mean, I've learned something, and I hope to see you again.
You will.
Till then, bye.
Bye-bye.